Why, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. My name is Mr. DB333, and welcome back to Hearts of Iron 4000 Week Reich as. Are we still Yeshuv? I believe we still. Yeah, we are still Yeshuv. So, last time we were here together in the nation of Yeshuv, we went to war in the Holy Land, a concept which is surely shocking to many of you. Totally unforeseeable. And it wasn't going so hot. I actually had to... I started recording this part yesterday, shortly after the last part, but then I came to realize, oh, I have miscalculated. And not only did I miscalculate, I don't have a save to go back to recalculate things properly. So I had to, there was a save that was a couple days in, and I just figured, nah, I don't need to do that. So I went ahead, and I just started a new game. So we have a couple things looking a little differently. The French still won. Still have the Imperial State over here, but the Tories are in the UK. The Norwegians are a little Nazi-esque. And Henry Wallace managed to hang on in the US. So, I more or less did everything else the same. So if you were watching those videos, you know what's up. And I was trying to finick a little around with this. I realized I wasn't doing too hot. So, I took a break. I had my birthday dinner. And I came to realize, you know what? I'm just going to do this the best I can. And if I start to collapse, which is a very real possibility, we'll pray upon Yahweh to save us. And by Yahweh, I mean the console. Because it's, you know, it's not all that deep, I think. And if you have an issue, I made this decision on birthday. So if you attack my decision, you're attacking the birthday boy, just so you know. And I don't think you want to attack the birthday boy. Or you can. I don't really care. But yeah, that's what I've decided to do. I want to focus more on the narrative content and all that anyway. So we'll just give it a gander. Check out the new content and take it from there. I promise I can be good at this game. If you want to see that, check out my Croatia and my Hungary playthroughs in 1000 Week Reich. I actually did quite well there. I'm very proud of what I managed to do with Croatia. But yeah. Who are these guys? After fascism, fair enough. Can't get mad at that. Anyway. Let's get on with the show, shall we? Starting my timer right now. Let's get going. Today, the day had come. Today, the 8th of August, 1953, the 27th of Av, 5713, 91 years after Moses Hess published Rome and Jerusalem, 56 years after the First Zionist Congress, 36 years after the Balfour Declaration, 20 years after the rise of the Nazis, 6 years after the signing of the Jerusalem Accords, and 1,817 years after the fall of the last Judean Republic. The day had come. Today, as David Ben-Gurion arrived at the former house of the first Tel Aviv mayor, Mayor Dizengoff, now the Tel Aviv Museum, on Rothschild Boulevard, number 16, he was greeted by half a city waiting for him. The atmosphere was incredibly tense, but hopeful at the same time. After processing how every single action he took in the past 50 years of his life had led to this one moment, Ben-Gurion entered the building. Inside the building, he would find all 27 signatories of the Jewish nation's final declaration of victory. One by one, they signed the scroll and took their seats. Ben-Gurion stood up. And so, this is the natural right of the Jewish people, to be as any other nation, and stand on its own in its sovereign state that will open the gates of the homeland to every Jew and grants the Jewish people an equal place in the brotherhood of nations. The entire country went completely silent. And so we have gathered, we the members of the Zionist Council, representatives of the Jewish nation and the Zionist Charter, on the day of the completion of the British Mandate in the land of Israel, by the virtue of our natural right, and based on the United Nations General Assembly resolution, today we declare the establishment of the Jewish nation in the land of Israel, the State of Israel. Even after the works of Moses Hesch and Theodor Herzl, many had scoffed at the notion of a Jewish state ever being reformed. With Hitler's victory in Europe wiping out more than half the world's Jewish population, such a fantasy became even less believable. Today the doubters are silent. In a grand speech inside the Tel Aviv Museum, attended by hundreds of thousands, David Ben-Gurion, with a stroke of a pen, has proclaimed a Jewish nation in the land of Israel. With this, the world's newest nation still finds itself in a war of survival that will now likely escalate even further. Whatever the fate of the first Jewish nation into millennia ends up being, today's a historic day for Jews worldwide. Today, he makes himself ridiculous, who denies the existence of a Jewish nation. So, very nice. We have completed If You Will It. We will weigh it, I suppose. After 2,000 years of slavery, 2,000 years of being whipped to spill our blood on foreign lands, the day today has come where no longer we will be at the mercy of the oppressors of the world. Today, the Jew will know freedom, like the Maccabees before him. Beautiful. We got a new research slot after that, which is very nice. Could very much use that right about now. For what's, that's the question. Let's get post-war line production going. And, you know, I had a feeling my neighbors wouldn't really appreciate that. And, there we go. We'll just bypass that. Oh, I should have read that shit. That was a very relevant thing to read. I'll load it back to that. I can't say I'm doing all this for the narrative and then just skip out on the narrative. That would be a little hypocritical, you know what I mean? A little and there they go. Here goes the Arab-Israeli War. And here we are, Ad Halom. We must transform Negev's southern approaches into a killing field. Trenches, mine belts, and artillery batteries should be hastily dug in the desert sands to repel Egyptian attack. Should we be able to fortify our south to repel an Egyptian attack, should we be able to fortify our south, we will be advantageous in avoiding a swift Egyptian assault. I believe that's going to naturally... we'll just... Yeah, there we go. Yeah, there we are. Let's get an army for the defense of Israel. The militias of the Haganah have been decentralized even after British rule ended. As a modern nation, we cannot simply let this continue to be the status quo. All of these paramilitaries then should not be acting independently, but instead working as one unified force. The old separate branches of the Haganah will be formed into the Israeli Defense Force. And there we are. Following the recent Israeli declaration of independence, the surrounding Arab states, which have been supporting the Arab fighters in the region, have decided... Okay, now our planes aren't doing well. We're going to just ground them. Anyway, the surrounding Arab states, which have been supporting the Arab fighters in the region, have formally decided to intervene in the conflict. Having failed to defeat the Jewish forces, the Arab militias in the region have either been disarmed or integrated into the invading armies, with each country rushing in to secure as much land as possible for themselves. On the other hand, with all branches of the issue formally uniting themselves under the banner of a new Israeli state, it remains to be seen if the new nation is ready to face the oncoming onslaught. Ad halom. Well, you know, it's going to be a little rough entering this. Is there anything we can get for... An infantry concern. Victory in Canada. Alright. So we have a couple options here. Owen. Yosef had just finished his dinner, or at least the lousy excuse for dinner that he was given. Him and the rest of his company had all gathered to listen to the Declarations of Independence on the radio the day before, but while the historic event had raised the morale of the men, there were rumors that the Arab nations were going to intervene in the conflict. They had to stay vigilant. Yosef took the moment to reflect on his journey to this moment. As a second-generation immigrant, he did not share the same passion towards the national cause as many of his friends who had witnessed the horrors of the Shoah firsthand, but that day, listening to Ben-Gurion's radio broadcast, a fire had been lit. Today he fought not only for himself, but for the millions who were never given the opportunity to die on their feet. Attention! Iraqi forces are across the border and are advanced into Naharim. Naharim? That was right next to Gashir. They would be here soon. Yosef grabbed the rifle and rushed downstairs as the company commander gathered the men. This is the final line. Up to here. And there we go, Ad Halom. Which we already finished, I think. Well, you have no war plan. Newly born nation has been thrust into war of survival against a much larger force. Until a war plan is decided upon, we are able to push outside of our own borders. Yeah, that's just not nice at all. I'm going to have these guys stop attacking in. Yeah. The one unfortunate thing about this region, which is also a reason I'm not looking forward, and part of the reason I decided to opt out of any micromanaging, these little provinces are so fucking small, so it's hard to really do anything. Like, properly navigate these troops. Alright, we're going to form a bit of a defensive line through here. We're going to hold Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, and this dude down here. This dude. We're going to hold on to these territories and let them attack into us for a bit. See how long we can hold out thusly. Eventually, I know how this works because I had to deal with it on the Iraq end. The longer they try to push into us, the more that they will end up getting penalties against us. And if we manage to hold on, eventually their armies are going to be tissue paper compared to us. We just have to make it long enough to make it there. So, yeah. The formal establishment of the State of Israel, the Provisional State Council of Israel, has been formed to act as a temporary government of the new nation until election can be held. Expansion include members of all major Zionist parties other than HoI, banning from the Revolutionary Socialists and pomp of classic liberals of the general Zionists. The new provisional government represents a reconfiguration of the informal coalitions that had governed the issue following the Jerusalem Accords. Yitzhak Ben Zavi of Mapai has been elected as the first chairman of the Provisional State Council, although this is largely a ceremonial role as David Ben-Gurion continues to hold the real power as Prime Minister and Minister of Defense. On national radio, Ben Zvi made a speech to the nation, his voice cracking as he recited the Sehet Shayu blessing. guiding us to reach this day. Alright, well, let's get our... borders calibrated. And if they want to go in and take Gaza, that would be a very... Okay, that's actually beautiful how that works out. If this works out the same way I think it did, which I think it does, that means the Egyptians aren't going to be able to help out at all. Yeah, this is great. This is just going to be a meat grinder at this point for the Arabs. I don't even think I'll have to cheat any more than I already did. Yeah, we just hold this position and hold tight in the meanwhile. A civil war in Laos. Laotians aren't doing too hot. That's sad to see. The Syrian national state is gone. So it's between, let's see, it's between the fascists and the fascists. That's interesting, at least. Alright, well, let's get to work. We have some doctrines available. Let's get working on a doctrine. We'll probably do Grand Battle Plan. I don't know if we'll have the military capacity to do superior firepower, so I won't assume we will. Unlock that. Let's get working on our next national focus as well. An army for defense of Israel includes you two. In order to consolidate a unified army for a new state, we must extend the offer of consolidation into the IDF to the Etzel. No longer should they be allowed to stand outside the confines of a state, but rather as a part of a unified military. You know, we can hope. The headquarters for the newly formed Israel Defense Forces was nothing short of pathetic. A converted British POW camp on the outskirts of Tel Aviv, the Kiryat was meant to eventually become the Israeli equivalent to the Pentagon, but in its current state, it wasn't much more than a glorified field base. Just like the brand new army represented, it had a long way to go. David Ben-Gurion made his way through the complex to the Yeged el-Yadin Yeged el-Yadin's office. Yadin was Ben-Gurion's main ally in the Mapam-dominated Haganah, and if the paramilitary was going to be transformed into a professional army, something had to be done about the politicized nature of its command. Yisrael Galili, the chief of staff of the Haganah, was a veteran member of the Mapam, and a fierce rival of Ben-Gurion. It was for this reason that he could not allow him to assume command of the IDF. Ben-Gurion entered the office as Yadin came to meet him. The two men greeted each other and sat down. Look, David, I know why you're here. I even partially agree with you. But now's not the time. Galili and a circle are capable generals, and we cannot afford to lose them. Not now. You don't understand, Yigel. Mapam and their childish fantasies on how this war will be won cannot be allowed to control the nation's army. They will drag us into an endless war for their delusional dreams of coexistence with a people who will not return the favor. David, I support your war plan, and I will support you if you continue with this, but I'm warning you. If you go too far with this, you'll lose the favor of the general staff, and I cannot help you once that happens. I urge you to reconsider. So, war support. Yeah, I think we'll stick with him. You better be right about this, Yigel. The political power hit kind of sucks, but I don't want to lose my boys. Yadin might have a point. I mean, he's our field marshal for a reason. Didn't they just pull out of there? Yeah, the Arab Salvation Army can keep throwing their troops at us. I'm not too mad at that at all. How many troops do they even have currently? Oh, they have a lot of manpower. Okay. Well, that's not great. Okay. David Daniel Marcus certainly was a unique case among the former Haganah's High Command. He was not a resident of Yishuv, nor did he even speak Hebrew. Instead, he was a former civil affairs policy manager for the U.S. Army during the Pacific War. While not a mastermind in battlefield tactics, he was invited by Ben-Gurion to serve as an advisor to the Haganah shortly before the beginning of the war, an offer that David gladly accepted. He had never been active in the Zionist movement much before the war, but as rumors of the horrors occurring in Europe spread across the world, he felt as if it was his duty to protect the people he had never felt a part of beforehand. The hour was 0400 when Marcus returned to the base near Abu Ghosh. The Arab populace of the village had agreed to maintain neutrality, the only village to do so along the Jerusalem corridor, and as such they were spared from Operation Nakshon. He approached the entrance to the camp in the dark of night, covered in a white blanket that would hopefully let the guard spot him. He had seen him go out after all. Misham? He yelled. The guard yelled out. David did not understand what he was saying. He did not speak the language. It's me, Marcus! He yelled out in English, praying the soldier could understand him. Atzor! The guard yelled. Well, David was confused. He had spoken to the guard before he left. Did the swap happen early? Before he could think of what to do next, David felt a sharp pain in his chest. As he bled out, he only hoped the guard would not be punished. When the soldier found out who he had shot, he nearly took his own life. Who's David Marcus? Oh shit, he's a really good general. Me personally, I hope the guy shoots himself for that. Well. This is not going as dramatically as it was before in my last playthrough, which is interesting. So we had a couple options to get working towards. Reorganize the air service. I think we'll do the air service. I had an Israeli friend who I talked to a fair bit, and he always told me how his family during the Arab Wars were Air Force pilots. And from my understanding, the Air Force was a pretty big part of how Israel managed to keep alive. So I want to see if we can reorganize the air service. We have some planes from all corners of the world. Spitfires mainly, some P-51s, even a few smuggled Focke-Wulfs and Piagos. We not only need to form and centralize the Air Force, pilots need to learn mid-air repairs and modern tactics in regard to gain air superiority in the Levant. The fractured Air Force will be formalized and reorganized into a viable fighting force. I like it. David Ben-Gurion was dreading this day since his first call with Shamir. With internal trouble in the newly formed IDF settled, now he had to get Edsel on board. Leaving them an independent fighting force would jeopardize the legitimacy of the Assembly of Representatives and lead to many internal troubles. Once the war was over, it had to be done sooner rather than later, and his failure to make a deal with Edsel before the start of the war didn't help. The phone rang. Ben-Gurion picked it up. Hello, David. Hello, Yitzhak. You must know why we're speaking. With the reorganization of Haganah to the IDF, the days of politicized militias are over. Today, we are one army, and you must join us. What was the fate of your chief of staff who dared oppose you? My terms are the same as last time we spoke. So long as my units can fight with their own weapons, I can support you. You know that was never on the table. You will either accept my offer, or it will not end well for you. I'm sorry. No can do. The scheduled general staff meeting was nothing out of the ordinary. Ben-Gurion managed to kick the can down the road regarding Vietzel and hoped to sway the figures themselves to his side once the war was over. For now, the meeting consisted of offensive planning and general war commentary. Ben-Gurion refocused. Positions have advanced towards Sud and are attempting to launch offensives towards Tel Aviv. The bridges are being prepared. Suddenly, the phone rang. Yigal Yadin wanted to pick it up. This is not good. What is it? Ben-Gurion replied. It's Shamir. There's a cargo ship full of weapons donated to Vietzel that will arrive here in 2 days. Damn it! They say that the Atalina, well... The Atalina? They even named the damn ship after him! Well, that's interesting. Let's get working towards vacuum tube computing right now. 2. Why Shamir? By a special order of the Chief of the General Staff of the Israel Defense Force, I am empowered to confiscate the weapons and military materials which have arrived on the Israeli coast in the area of my jurisdiction in the name of the Israeli government. I have been authorized to demand that you hand over the weapons to me for safekeeping and to inform you that you should establish contact with Supreme Command. You are required to carry out this order immediately. If you do not agree to carry out this order, I shall use all the means at my disposal in order to implement the order and to requisition weapons which have reached the shore and transfer them from private possession into the possession of the Israeli government. I wish to inform you that the entire area is surrounded by fully armed military units and armored cars, and all roads are blocked. I hold you fully responsible for any consequences in the event of your refusal to carry out this order. The immigrants, unarmed, will be permitted to travel to their camps in accordance with your arrangement. You have 10 minutes to give me your answer. D.E. Brigade Commander. Set sail for Tel Aviv. We have supporters there. Ooh, this is turning the whole thing, isn't it? Hillel stood next to the hastily made artillery battery on the boardwalk of Tel Aviv as the ship got closer and closer. It was said that the Atalanta was going to dock near Frischman Street, hoping to use the Vietzel supporters in the area. The corvettes shadowing it had returned on the ship, but they were forced back as they were hit with return fire. He had prayed this moment would not come, yet here it was, being ordered fire on fellow Jews. He hesitated. Hillet, it is your duty to follow orders. Fire, or you will be court-martialed. He closed his eyes as he pulled the lanyard. Yitzhak Shamir stood up atop the deck of the Altalina as it made its way toward the Tel Aviv beach. The area near Frischman Street had many Vietzel supporters, and he'd hoped to use them to his advantage when they reached the shore, unloading as many weapons as possible before the rest were confiscated. Suddenly, everything changed. A loud bang was heard, and the ship went up in flames. They had fired. No. No. No! Why? Abandon ship! He heard a captain yell. It's over! Save yourselves! He heard a crewman yell at the white flag as the white flag was raised. Shamir throws. Don't surrender! It's not over! He yelled. He was ignored. The crew rushed to jump overboard and swim to shore. No! Don't surrender! It was no use. The ship went down, and the handcuffs were put on them. Twice the pride, double the fall. This is known as a surrender order to all its armies still operating. With the surrender of Yitzhak, Shamir and the rest of the command, Prime Minister Ben-Gurion, and the General Staff have hereby ordered the dissolution of Vietzel and its integration into the Israel Defense Forces. You have until tomorrow to lay down your arms and be reorganized into the existing IDF structure. All its members who fail to comply with this order by the end of the deadline are to be considered and treated as enemy combatants. That is the end of an era. A little extra manpower as well, which is quite nice. I'm going to leave things there, my friends, but I thank you, as always, for watching. If you like this video, leave a like. If not, feel free to dislike. If you have any comments, feedback, leave it in the comment section below. I read all comments again, and I do appreciate any feedback you might have for me. Check out my various links down in the description box below. Leave any comments or feedback down in the comment section below. Hit the sub notification bell to keep updated with uploads as it came out. I don't know if I'm repeating myself at this point, so I'll just leave it there. But I thank you as always for watching, my friends. My name has been Mr. Dogblood333, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye now.